This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello, big warm welcome. Yes, the final of our three podcasts on the week covering glorious Goodwood. And certainly one or two of us have made a decent fist of it, namely John Lane, who was in spiffing form today, tipping up the 2-year-old winner. And approval, Tony's horse, John.
Yes.
Yeah, two lovely winners there, but bigger prices overnight as well.
I might get a bottle of food out of that fucker, yeah.
I don't know. Wonders never cease for that. But joining me and John on tonight's show, anyway, to finish off the week and hopefully in style, it's Mr. Jack Finch. Good evening, Jack.
Good evening, chaps. Good to be back at my favourite place.
Yep.
Not.
Yes. But there we go. We make the best of it. And on what we saw today, I think you highlighted this, Jack, could be looking at low numbers. On the straight course, it seemed to play out that way in the sprint, didn't it?
Yeah, certainly that 3-year-old race just there. I think it does often change, doesn't it, on the Friday to the lower drawn. So yeah, interesting. We'll see how it plays out.
Right, well, it'll be interesting to see what we're all going to be tipping as we don't confer on this show beforehand. So we start on Friday, 4 races on ITV, as is the norm. That's enough for anyone, thinks John. If John was in charge of programming at ITV, he'd stick one on, I think.
Yeah, fucking midnight.
So we start off at 150. It's the Coral Goodwood Handicap, and it's the crazy one where there's no draw bias in this. And they start off at the winning post and run down the hill and round they go. John gets very bored. You love your staying races, John.
I wish fucking cold trains not running.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I've been dead a while, haven't I? Temporize was the winning horse last year, and he is £10 higher on 92. Won off an easy lead last time, but obviously it shows he's in decent nick. Jack, I'm coming to you first in this.
Yeah, I mean this would probably be up there with my least favourite races of the entire year. So I'll put that out there first. But yeah, I think as you say, Temporize £10 higher, still seems to be operating at a decent level. That mark of 92 possibly isn't his ceiling. Wouldn't be a thrilling selection, but he would be interesting. I've picked out a very rogue one in here and did a bit of digging. Look, it's a stupid price, probably because it's a stupid selection, but the total rag of the field, Gula Gong. Interesting horse this. It used to be with Aidan O'Brien and won a 10 furlong maiden on heavy ground at Navan. Now that was on heavy ground and it was a mess of a race. I mean, but if you're going off the horses in behind, Nation's Call of Dermot Wells rated 91, Young Island of Nasty Jim rated 101. So that was a decent maiden. It was then tried in group company the next twice, didn't do anything. Then went to Josh Halley for a spin over hurdles, and that clearly didn't work out. And he's since been changed to George Baker, who, again, wouldn't be one of my favourite trainers, but he's had 3 notably quiet spins, just been out the back 3 times, nothing asked of him whatsoever. He's managed to get himself £15 down in the process. Now that just might be a false rating to start with, but off a mark of 80, a decent page to go with. He's a full sibling to a Group 2 winning mare with Jesse Harrington, Kay and Pepper. He's been a bit keen in these last 3 starts, so we'd need to settle to try and see this trip out. But it's a stupid race, as I said, and I might throw a few quid at this if it settles in running, because it's got a nice page behind it, and it might just be a bit of a flyer. So I thought I'd kick us off with that one.
Say no more. I mean, 66 to 1 Pope is certainly not to be sniffed at, Jack. So, yeah, it's an interesting race, as you've pointed out. I'm with Super Jack. I think that's had a couple of floats, really. And it comes into this, obviously, with previous in this race, where before it was off injured, it was back in 22, when it was second to Master Milliner off 82, off 80. 2 nice, what I think are nice spins anyway. I think he comes into this with every chance. But I think it's a race, John, where I do prefer them on the front end. And the problem with Super Jack is they always drop it out. And as we've seen with Ryan Moore today, when the ground's rattling at Goodwood, if you can pinch races, if you get it right on that front end, it's really difficult to close.
It is. The one I was looking at, the O'Meara horse, Get Shirty. You can't be optimistic about the way that one will be ridden in the race.
No.
He's a bang hold up horse. The straight was too short for him at Ascot. I was inclined to give him another chance because it's a longer straight. It might give Danny No Hope a bit longer to wind him up and get him rolling. But it's not a race I like. I don't particularly like the makeup of it. I think there's a boring old bastards in this.
It's a good time to walk the dog in it if it's not too hot.
Well,
You got enough time. Give it 2 spins.
Do something with the dog anyway. It's not worth it.
Pace-wise, you could be looking at Tenerife Sunshine. The Kill might go forward with that. Temporize definitely goes forward.
David Pike, mate.
Yeah, I think so. Ocean Line. Look, it's one of them races that, as Jack's pointed out, I'm not betting seriously in it. It's just if you must have
You're
a
best
bet.
off having a bet in running, aren't you, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
got enough time.
You can check the pace. You can see if they're going slow, hard, whatever, and then make your choice from there. I think that's probably the best option. We sort of, I think, from the sound of the three of us, I think we're swerving that a little bit. 225 is the Bonhams Group 3 over a mile. This is for 3-year-olds. And I like the race conditions, which have not won a Group 1 pattern race, so obviously for horses that haven't won at the top level. So it's a competitive affair, but I didn't understand, if my price are correct, Al Musmak at 7-2 still with Denise. That's a bit big, John, for Al Musmak, isn't it?
Well, it is and it isn't, because you're asking a Roger Varian house to replicate a good run from last time.
Yeah.
I think Denise is factoring that in myself. I think on average this year, if she took those ones on that go into a race of a richly promising run or a win next time, I think you'd be quizzing.
Roger Vegetables, yeah, indeed.
I couldn't back that tomorrow purely on that.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's where I am with Roger Varian.
What's the panel's thoughts on Dancing Gemini? Weak in the betting.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. I stuck him up for the Derby. I think he's fine. He's becoming a bit caught between trips really at the minute. You know, they thought he might be a 12 furlong horse just over a month ago. Then he dropped back to 10 for the Eclipse. Now he's back to the mile. I know he ran well in the French Guineas over the mile, but there was a huge downpour just before that, and it would have been much slower than he'll be facing tomorrow. He doesn't shape like a miler to me. I think he might find it all a bit quick, but he's certainly a talented horse.
Yeah. What about ground? Is ground key to him? Does he require
No, it's key, but I'd prefer him with a print.
Yeah.
The one I like tomorrow for ground status fast lead artist.
You think that can reverse the form? Then obviously, if you're predicting
very much so, because I think this looked all a cock on the loose on top shite it was racing on the July course. It really caught him out, I thought. Well, I say he's got a bit to find on that. I think on Al Musmak had a 2-year-old season under his belt. A lot more seasoning on him. All lead artists done really. He's had half a float up in the wood and won at York and then run on that filth.
Yeah, and obviously, if we look at the betting from last time, he was 6-4 to beat Al Musmak. And I know Nick Davis made the case for Al Musmak on the podcast last time, but that was because of price. I think Al Musmak was like 15-2.
Yeah, I fancied him.
You backed Nick up as well. So the two of you were quite strong on him. So, like you say, with that not being able to back up, lead artist 6-4. Like you say, if you think that was the reason why he didn't show his running, good to soft Newmarket.
I'd at least the same price, like.
Well, there you go. Well, that's it. So John clearly favouring lead artist around the 9-2 mark. Jack, have you anything at left field to add, or anything you want to add on?
Yeah, a little bit. I agree with John in the sense that if you look at the field, a lot of them have shown their hand, really, haven't they? And lead artist 3 runs. It was a weird race that last time out at HQ. You had Socialite, who's in this, bombed off near side, went about 12 lengths clear, going a silly clip, and that was only beaten 3.5. So it's just not form that I particularly want to trust, despite Almazmat being impressive. I do like one at a bit of a price, and that's the Rafe Ralph King's Gamble, who I thought ran a very good race off a big weight in the Britannia. We haven't had much test of that form so far, but I mean, Involvement came out and bolted up at the July meeting, so you know, to run fifth there off 102 is a decent effort, and I don't think he's, you know, whilst he's got a bit to find on the ratings, I don't think he's out of this form, out of his depth even here, and I don't think this is a massively strong race. So at double figure price, I'll probably stick a few quid on him.
We always say, season in, season out, we always like to follow the Britannia form because I mean, Docklands, in years gone by, this has led to group performance in progression. So you're right to include him in calculations. Certainly, it's that sort of race where, despite Dancing Gemini's and Alma's max rating, I think they're a little bit high, and I think you have to probably improve £5 or £6, Jack, to be uber competitive, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So and it's had 4 starts. So there you go. Again, this is another horse that could certainly step forward. A couple of mentions there. So it's interesting with John's take on the vegetables runner. We SDS sending him balm, John. Yes. 3:00, the Coral Golden Mile. Now, if you are a Patreon subscriber, obviously you lovely people are listening to this evening. And if you're not, then we can tell you now because the price has gone anyway. Darkness, put by Nick Davis as anti-post bet. It's his favourite race of the year. He likes to get this right. He's probably due a winner, to be honest. And I like his case for Darkness. I think it's well weighted. It probably just sees a mile out, just under these conditions. It was 4th in this last year, and it was soft ground. I think under these conditions, I think it's fine. You might be on fumes close home, but Darkness is certainly a big contender. So, John, what's your take on the race?
I pretty much agree with Nick on Darkness. I thought 2 Ahmed Dangers actually were Perotto, who's a perennial in this type of race and has a good draw, and Bo Pedro from the same yard as Darkness.
Yeah.
I think Bo Pedro is pretty well handicapped. He tends to perform well in a big field. A bit of rough house on the inside won't bother him, anything like that. If figure is clear on, I think he'd be very dangerous off his mark. But I do like Darkness, yeah. Well, O'Meara could have the first 3, really, couldn't
He's
he?
got enough in.
It's a race that O'Meara does like to target this race. So interesting that he's going for it, so to speak. Jack?
Completely agree with Nick's case on Darkness. If he hadn't run round every shop in the southeast, I'd have probably tried to back that myself. Hoping for a bit of a drift there tomorrow, but I can totally get that. One I like, and I think this is one that you could easily back on the shows because it's pretty much the anti-Golden Mile horse in the sense that Toy Me Son, this is drawn 21, which is shit. It's a hold-up type, which is shit. I'm almost second guessing myself for putting this up now, but it might be heart over head, but I think this horse is incredibly well handicapped off 88. He ran behind Darkness actually last start at HQ, but he's ran some nice races over 7. I think he's gagging for a well-run mile. There's lots of pace on here. It will be part of the Red Seas for Oisin Murphy to try and get through the traffic. That's your biggest problem. It'll be a nail biter type situation, but I could just see him flashing home, and he'll go off a silly price. He's 25, so I think that'll confidently stick around, to be honest. But I couldn't go without having a few quid on him, as I've followed him pretty much all season, to be fair.
Good stuff, mate. I'll finish off by saying not as strong on the race as probably you guys, but Holloway Boy, I just thought I'd put out there. He's a bit of an equine wanker, but the thing with him, he is a stakes horse, and he would be a stakes horse if he wasn't a wank. That's the point I'm making. But the 5th in the Hunt Cup, when he was behind Perotto, just behind, I did feel just wasn't quite in the right section of the race. He was just towards the stand side more than the others, and he got going real strong through the line. And then last time out, obviously ran a belter behind Sechero's gift, reversing the form with Perotto. He's always going to be thereabouts, isn't he? I think for you place potters out there tomorrow, that's the kind of horse you want to stick in your pot. It's not going to be Fav, and second Fav or joint second Fav at the moment, but that's an ideal potter if you're playing, or exotics. I think that's the forecast tricast if you're playing something there. Make sure you've got Holloway Boy at least in somewhere, because he is better than 105, but obviously we know he's a bit quirky and a bit tricky, but that's my angle on the race. So, but I'm cheering for Nix to win, really, for the Patreon site. He put it out at 20 to 1. He's done 3 shops. Instead of going to Lidl, he'll be going to Marks and Spencer's, John, maybe after tomorrow's race.
Yeah, get some of them nice interbred grapes that taste like candy floss or something.
Brilliant. 3:35, we finish off Friday with the King George Qatar Stakes. Obviously, some big winners of this race in the past. It used to be a Batash benefit fund. Of course, now we've got Big Evs. Big Mojo did it for the connections earlier in the week with the Malcolm. Can they land the Malcolm King George double, Jacko? What do you think?
Well, it's an interesting race for me because I put up 2 runners in this for the Nunthorpe, Pontos and Desperate Hero, both drawn on opposite sides of the track, both likely leaders. There's a lot of pace on here. You've got those 2. Living the Dream, I'm sure they'll revert to front running tactics. They tried to hold him up last time out. It didn't work. Big Lebs obviously is a blast off type 2. So it'd be an interesting one. Obviously, we discussed the low draw side of things, whether that will play hot, and that will certainly benefit Desperate Hero. But there is a prospect that they might go too hard here. I mean, you saw the Richmond Stakes today with just how hard they went up top, and it suited a closer. So I possibly wouldn't want to be with the front runners as much as typically you do want to get rolling here. And there's 2 that I think fit the bill for potentially sort of picking up pieces, and that's Starlust and Believing. Now they are drawn high, so you might well be out of your ground if the guys on the near side the far side get a lead. But starting with Starlust, I liked his performance in the City Walls. I think he's shown a lightness to be dropped back to 5. He's had 2 starts over 5 this year, won both at York. In fairness, he might another that might be more well suited to the Nunthorpe, but I think he's shown himself to be a decent performer over the 5, and Believing to her credit is just dancing every dance at the moment. Ran 2 decent races at Royal Ascot, followed that up again at the Curragh with a nice win, and I think those 2 will, if they go a silly clip, Pontos will. I watch a lot of French racing, as he's a real blast off type, and I think that's why I think York will be well suited for him. But if they go a touch too quick, these 2 will sit in behind, and they might just pick up the pieces. So I'll probably be having a small Dutch on those 2 myself.
Good stuff, mate. I can see your reasoning for like a blast-off pace scenario. Just going to run something past you both. Disgraceful, really, that Karan jockey, that Sean Karan, jocked off.
I thought you meant the one you mentioned in Arabic text there.
I thought we're leading on to a bit of a sermon chat there. I've got my days wrong.
Well, it is. It is in a way, right? Sean Karan, this is a disgrace. He's been jocked off. I have absolutely no idea why. He made his reappearance, Haydock's a stiff 5 on soft ground, and got pestered for the lead. Kurdos nabbed him late. Then there was a pace burn up and a mass headwind when obviously he was tailed off behind Believing, same venue, another track that shouldn't really suit him. Then Sandown, again, a track that shouldn't suit him, soft ground. They tried something different. It didn't work. Whether that was the jock that decided he was going to do it and they didn't tell him to do it, I don't know. But anyway, that's what happened. And we find him jocked off. Now, tomorrow is 5 furlongs Goodwood, 56 seconds worth of blasting. Which suits him. He don't want 1 minute and 1 5 furlong race. He wants 56 seconds. Yeehaw, as we saw in the Nunthorpe. Now, I'm asking you 2 a question then. Sir, if you take the 3 runs out this season, and there's excuses on every single one of them, and plenty of them, what price is he on the back of last year?
Probably favourite, isn't he, really?
Well, close to. I'd probably say about 7 or 2, something like that, 100 to 30. With that in mind, 11 to 1 at the moment, I think you have to play. I'm not saying he's going to win, and I'm not saying he's a good thing. I'm saying that if he's not gone at the game, this performance he's going to put in tomorrow will be his season's best. So if that's the case, 11's big, John.
If price means anything, you've got to have a bet, haven't you?
I think so. What did he go off at? He went off at 8 to 1 against Kurdos, because obviously they publicly said it needed run. 5 to 4 against Believing. And then 3 to 1-5 last time. And I think the market's just lost faith, but for the wrong reason. Before we finished on Friday pods, we actually said we took him on at 8. When Believing beat him. We said, well, there's a big headwind, so it's no good for him. I think it's cracking at that price. I get Jack's case for a pace collapse, and that might well be the case. As we saw in the 3-year-old race today, the pace did exactly that and collapsed off a roof. I think they went 45 mile an hour. They hit 45, I think, after 2 furlongs. It was rather funny to watch. They might do the same here, and then it's like you said, Jack's laughing all the way to the leads, as Arthur Daly used to say. So, John, have you got a selection in this, or do you agree with mine a little bit that you can't lose on that one?
I agree entirely with you.
Yeah. Oh, right, cool. That's good.
I think it's a disgrace how they treated that kid.
How he must feel, I don't know. Because
if you're going to blame him for anything, you could only say it's because he didn't get off and carry it.
He's right there. I feel so sorry for him because this is a kid that ain't going to be able to ride group race winners. It's not going to happen. He's going to have to go back into North, riding for Happy Tim, Beverly, for $3,000 at winner. And this was his.
Tim was telling him to hold him up.
Yeah. This was his ticket to a few quid, and 8% of the 302,000 at York could have been like 25 bags. And then plus the other place money at Santa Anita and all that lot. That was his cash cow. That was his, the kid's finally got his break. Absolutely nothing wrong. It's an absolute disgrace. So there's 2 reasons. I'll be back in Living the Dream at the price, but part of me will be glad if it gets fucking stuffed.
A win-win.
Yeah, it is a win-win for me. Yeah, because I feel sorry for the kid. I don't like to see unjust decisions, and I think that one is.
I mean, it's got to be get out in running, hasn't it?
I think so, because they're not going to hold it up. They're not going to do the same as at Sandown. It's going to be lights out.
You can't not get out of this at 6.
You'd think so. It's definitely got the most early. I mean, if we saw it Nunthorpe,
If you say you're taking 10s on sports book, out at 6, 12 pints for an out.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll cover off day 1 with best bets. So mine is what I've just said, Living the Dream at the 11 to 1. That will be my BBOD for Friday. John, your best bet?
Lead artist.
Lead artist in the Bonhams for John to overturn the Roger Vegetables bounce out form from HQ on the slop. Jack?
I think King's Gamble against John is probably my best bet on the TV stuff. Can I cover off one non-TV, or are we not doing that? Yeah?
Yeah, of course. If you want to make a best bet of the business, you can do.
Okay. Well, I like one in the next race, which I don't understand why it exists, to be quite frank, which is the Bentic Condition Stakes. There hasn't been a run in of this for my money, has there? Is this a new one?
It's a new one, I think.
I thought that. It's like the two shit for the Sussex Stakes, it probably should be called.
I don't mind it in a way, because the BHA as well have said you've got to have an handicap rating of 80 or more to run it, so they don't get absolute scrap turning up for tickets.
It's like having the Strensel at the Abermate, isn't it, really?
Yeah, pretty much.
But I like one. Bit of a price, which is under a bit of collapsing at the minute. But it's Cairo, Alice Haynes' horse, which I thought once switched to from obviously decent horse Aidan O'Brien, ran a really promising race behind Tarawa at Leopardstown. Then they just put him out of his depth in the Queen Anne. Probably just nice day out for the owners or whatever. But he was never that good. But in this sort of company, on the form that he's shown, I wouldn't have him as big as he is. I think My Prospero, the favourite, is definitely one that you want to take on. Cicero's Gift is a horse that I like, but and I think we put him up on edge, didn't we, when he won at Sandown? But do you want to trust Charlie Hills to back one up? I'm not too sure.
That won't run. I can't have that running
On the ground.
Charlie Hills has said even after Sandown.
That's what I thought.
He said, we made a mistake running him at Ascot on the good to firm, and he come back jarred.
Yeah.
So if that runs, I will be astounded.
Yeah, no, agreed. You probably take a cut on the price if you're playing now, but I'd have Cairo a lot closer to top of the market than he is, and I'll make that probably my bet of the day tomorrow.
Good stuff, Jack. You might be walking like an Egyptian after day 1. Yes, Prague though, from the Biltong boys. Now, what a piece of magic this is! $10,000 they've picked this up for from the old Culmore, the lads. It's turned into a triple figure horse. The Biltong boys like this, don't they?
They do.
Good stuff. Right, so that covers off. John laughing in the background. He loves it. He loves this game and place. I sounded like West Indian there. I don't know how I did that.
Clyde Walcott had walked in.
I sounded
like
West
Brian
Indian.
Lara.
Yeah, I've just been watching all Test series, haven't I?
Bit of a tangent, but I was at Royal Ascot last year. I think I went Queen Anne Day. You'll be disgusted with me, Lee, but I'm not a huge cricket man, and I'd had about 14 pints by this time, and I was having a chat with a lovely West Indian looking man at the champagne bar after a few winners. He was a nice chap, and we're chatting through the day. And my mate taps me on the shoulder and he says, "Do you know who that is?" I said, "No, not a clue." It's fucking Brian Lara, mate. And he was obviously in O&T or whatever, and he had his badge, and I thought, Jesus Christ, it is and all. And yeah, what a lovely man. And I'm sorry that it was wasted on a non-cricket fan like myself to meet someone like that, but a lovely chap.
No. Do you know what? That they actually love that. They ain't like people like me.
I think that's
like
why he
coming
liked
up
me,
to
because I
him.
didn't mention cricket.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they like, because they're there for day out and they just want to might be talk different things, whatever you're talking about. But somebody like me would like, oh, I'd be selfie, and then I'd be saying, "You're the man that got 400," and he's like, yeah. They hate it. You'd have been highly suitable for that conversation. Saturday, again, only 4. Cracking this from RTV. They'll probably show him races elsewhere, but I'm not doing.
Well, they'll be sending Luke Harvey around asking stupid fucking
Oh,
questions again.
John, that first day I've tuned into ITV this week, and it was fucking terrible. Oh, honestly.
That was literally a disgrace.
Yeah.
In broadcasting.
Yeah.
We're going to bring this up again Sunday. I didn't see it, so you're going to have to fill me in what went off. I haven't seen any of it. We'll cover this Sunday. There's actually plenty this week to cover, obviously, with the old kitchen fitter having one withdrawn today at Galway. 150 at Goodwood is the glorious stakes to kick off Saturday. Al Arze and Phantom Flight head the market.
Glorious,
Yeah.
I don't think the Gordon Stakes all aged or something.
That's not a bad idea.
I don't know why they don't anyway.
There's so much shit in this festival, isn't it?
It's piss, isn't it? Absolute piss.
Like, you got like 0 to 95s and stuff. I mean, and you know, duplicates of group races, but with older horse versions. It's not, you know, the 3-year-olds are well capable of taking on their elders this time of year. You could cut this to, I'd probably cut it to fucking 2 days, but 3 would be fair. But 5 is a disgrace.
I don't tell you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm going to have a dig at our Irish counterparts and all. Galway 7 days is absolutely ludicrous.
They just like being on the piss.
Well, that's it.
I've attended that. I lived over there for a spell. I think I managed 3 days actually racing. I spread them out. Had a ticket for all of them, but it's just a complete piss fest, as you said, John. I would urge people to go if they want a jolly. From a racing perspective, it's shit.
I went once, well back in the day, and I can only vaguely remember being on the boat going over, and I was back for the next thing I knew.
Yeah, there we go.
Couldn't tell you about a race.
That's how you do Galway. Right, so anyway, back to this one. 1.5 mile group race. What we saying?
I like Lion's Pride back up in Trip.
Parrot form.
Yeah,
that was me too.
Because these are all a bit iffy, aren't they? Unless Phantom Flight has got the George Scott magic working on him. He maybe levelled off for James, and now he's gone to George Scott. He could end up winning the fucking arc or something. He is a champion trainer in waiting, no question.
Isla Jura.
Yeah.
He's crocked that.
Derby last night. Other than that, I mean, Al Affy got a bit fucking iffy last year, I thought.
Been iffy for about 4 years, hasn't he, John?
Well, yeah. Hey, Merrick, it's varying, isn't it? You know, we take him on these days. And nobody likes Relentless Rage. With biggest price at 5, it's a shit race, and Kieran Skidmark deserves a bit of luck.
Yeah.
Don't know if he deserves it, but he definitely fucking needs it.
He's having a tough time, and
we all deserve a bit of luck.
Yeah, true.
The P45's waiting from Clarehaven.
The sabbatical is looming like the sword of Damocles, isn't it?
My angle into the race is that he might be replaced by Saturday, so he might be a couple of points shorter by then.
They might fly the sardine in.
Jack, I can see Schumacher and Stridham going on an Asian sabbatical for 3 months. You know when he posts on Instagram where they're in some hut on this desert island and they're travelling. Yeah. Schumacher and Stridham. the winners. Right.
Very much with John. I wouldn't have this. I know they're all within a point or two of each other, but I wouldn't have this the rag at all. It's a horse that I really like, and I've been with him on both starts this year, and the Kempton run I thought was okay. Form's all right. Dubai Honour
You
won
think they've had a bit of bother with him, Jack?
Yeah, they definitely have. So he was meant to run in the couple of races. Meant to run in certainly the Winter Derby.
Yeah.
Pulled him out of that. They've just been running him over the wrong trip for me. I mean, he's been at 10,
Yes, yeah.
10
That's
furlongs
what happened.
twice. He's a 12 furlong horse. He's not quick. And what I'd love to see Kieran do, if he's got any ounce of confidence left, is just bounce him out and try and make the run on Saturday. Because this looks like I've had this down as a cup horse for a little while. I think it still could be, and 12's probably his minimum. So I do like him, and as John said, Phantom Flight. Only issue with me for him is the bounce, really. Again, probably a horse who's had issues equally, and coming back off 2 weeks after a pretty big run at Newbury.
One bounce with George Scott.
Yeah, the new man in town for you, George Scott.
Can't praise him enough.
But yeah, I think.
Have you been emailing him?
No. I wouldn't presume.
Anyway, Jack and John have said Lion's Pride, and let's hope, Jack and John, that Schumacher doesn't fight the horse and he just lets the horse stride. And that's what
he
we
did
want.
that all. That'll be a
If he reads Twitter tonight, he'll have no fight left in him anyway, will he?
I sent someone a WhatsApp before and I said, wide draw, Emily Upjohn, keen sort, stays 12, 10 furlong race, just bounce her out and try and make it. But he absolutely won't, and lo and behold, he does that. I mean, the kid's completely shot, isn't
He's
he?
going to go and kick the shit out of himself tonight, isn't he, really?
Well, he's had issues, hasn't he, with his booze and stuff. I hope he doesn't go back to that, but there we go.
Jesus Christ.
Oh no, it's brilliant. More booze, the better. 225 is the Coral Summer Handicap over 1 mile and 6. And the kilt came to his senses today when taking Align the Stars out of the Godden Stakes.
Yeah, let's hope it gets stuffed, eh?
Yeah. He didn't like the good to firm today, and he won't like the firm on Saturday.
No, he's happy at 3s rather than at 33. Today's Godden. My nap's in this. The best bet over the 2 days. And there's always a catch there. There's always bad connections. Richard Hannon and Pat Dobbs.
Wow.
No one wants them. But this horse is screaming to be back for me. I'll take you through the last 4 runs and not drone on. Beat Divina Grace at Goodwood last back end of the campaign. That horse is now rated 94. And it was rated 80 that day. So that's a good run. Second to Qatari at Ascot was very unlucky.
Yes, he was. I remember that.
Had to wait 2 furlongs to get a run. Finally got going, and obviously it wasn't there in time. Then had to
have bolted with Ollie Doyle, yeah. We know where this is.
Yeah, John Zangle with Ollie Doyle booked, and then bolted with in front off slow fractions at Donny, which certainly wouldn't have suited. Finished just behind Knightswood that day. That's not without a chance in this either. And then last time, beat Lieber Power by a nose, which doesn't look incredible form or off the page form, but again, had to wait probably for a furlong and a half before there was any kind of room.
He's got a catchphrase this off if you read his form, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Waiting for room.
Yeah.
It is. This is a horse that's still very, very unexposed. And 14-1, I think that's an insult. 14s with laddies, I think that's absolutely huge. And that one's it's backdoor smashing in each way for me. So that's the best bet of the 2 days for me. John, opinion?
I couldn't argue with that. I do think Fairbanks will run well again. I was very impressed with that horse at Newmarket. I thought that could be called the winner a long way out, despite leading and lots of horses looking as though they were queuing up to challenge. I was very impressed with his manner, the way he went about that.
Yeah.
The rest, with the exception of the one you highlight, I think are very exposed. I think, this used to be classed as an Eber trial. Well, God help us if it is.
Oh, maybe Fairbanks, I'll give you as an
he might turn up, but he's 6th or 7th in the if he runs.
Yeah. Is it pull up the drawbridge for you, John?
Well, yeah. And the only other one that I would give half a squeak to, Intinzo just run away with her every time this year. If she could actually get this to drop it, and I say this is an in.
How many times have we said that though, John?
Well, I say it's an in-running only. You've got to just watch and hope they go like Sting. She's not sat there helpless. like Penelope Pit Stop.
It's always been better than 98, this horse. Like you said, she
It
just
won't be
can't.
better than 98 till they get her off it. And
No.
that's not happening, is it? So
No, she rides for the owner. But then you'd only get skid mark if...
yeah, you know it's better than that.
Well, yeah, probably. Good point on that. Jack?
Yeah, I'm sort of with you both, really. Fairbanks was the one that I noted. I thought last time out he was really good value for that win. I think O'Sheen possibly made a move a bit soon, but I think they were going such a crawl that he probably just thought, "Fuck it, I'm on the winner here. I'll go for it." And
He was doing so well when he had to
yeah,
go, really.
started wandering a bit, but he was good value for that, and I think the £6 is probably fair enough. But I really like your case for Great Bedouin, Lee. I think his runs have been eye catching and particularly drawn to that Ascot run a few starts ago when he was second to Qatari. I know he's £6 higher now, but yeah, it's just the old Pat Dobbs Richard Hannon combo, isn't it? But
I know.
I think you got compensation for your price, and it would be a funny one because no matter how much money any of us have on the race, none of us will be sweating more than the Kilt Junior here, who's blanked the entire week at his beloved Goodwood. His dad will be pissed all looking at him, saying, "If you fucking blank glorious Goodwood," I can't do a Scottish accent.
So that were Indian.
Yeah, it's like one of yours, but
Yeah.
he will be sweating, won't he, to try and get this one home. But I could not be with that yard at all at the minute, to be honest.
If we doing a Glenn Miller flying home, weren't he?
Yeah. Pess on his chaps. So...
I'd love that to get beat, regardless if I get any money out of the race at all. I can't. I don't like him.
He's on for the dreaded blank, isn't he? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's rooting for him, let's be fair.
I can't believe it all. He's got Lift It Home Joe on as well. Lift It Home Joe.
I never learn.
By the way, just before we go to the next race, there was a TV interview with a Kilt Junior.
He likes one of them, doesn't he?
He had a winner at Qatar, and they stick their mic under him, and he says, "Oh yeah, he should have won last time, but I think the horse sort of fell asleep at last furlong, and so did Jockey." And he actually had a good dig at him, so I thought it was quite funny for the Kilt Junior, picking on 77-year-old Joe. He probably had fell asleep. We all fall asleep when we get older, don't we?
I bet he's been like a granddad to him as well.
What, bathing him?
Granddad still hasn't bathed.
All right. 3 o'clock is the Lillie Langtry. This is definitely a gin and pear race for me. It's pull up Drawbridge and Strawbridge has got the fav, but I've looked through this and it terrifies me, John.
She doesn't stay, does she?
I don't think she does.
I mean, if they thought this was a mile 6 filly, what the hell are they doing running it in the fucking Middleton twice?
Well, that's it. I think it just fits into calendar. She's not good enough to win, say, Yorkshire Oaks.
She's 6 years old. I mean, there's not much fitting into calendar. We're going to be on 3rd of August and she's having a second fucking run.
Well, Slim's patient.
Slim's probably forgot she's in fucking Pull up the drawbridges in America. He don't give a flying fuck. He's maybe just got an invoice now and tell her what the hell's this, eh? Get her out.
You've got Sergeant Wilson with the second in. Don't give you much confidence. She's very hard on herself. Pulls like stink. Harry Bentley in the saddle.
See the jockey on that, by the way. That's what's he doing back here?
It's a left field one, isn't
Yeah.
it? He's obviously sent Kyle Stridham to Taiwan. So he needs somebody else. I don't know. Anyone, really.
Who's he getting next? Happy Thomas?
I'm surprised because unless I don't know if O'Sheen's riding it. Yeah, he's riding for Baldwin course. Yeah, he's Night Sparkle. He loves O'Sheen, doesn't he, when he can get him. I got no thoughts on this. It's pointless me talking about the race because I have no opinion. Anyone will be better than me on this race. John, are you...
They should have made these running the Ava trial.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why not?
They melded the two races together and said, fuck it, you're running in one race.
Yeah.
River of Stars is consistent and tries hard. You could do worse for your money, but I probably won't have a bet.
I don't think she's as good as...
No, she's...
You've even put that in your notes. She's not running at her best this season so far anyway. But the fillies are fillies. They can blossom with the sunshine. A filly loves sunshine and then they thrive on sunshine on the back. Well, not in real life. The real fillies. They do love a bit of sun.
Oh, yeah.
Jack.
Yeah, horrible little race this. I'm not with Free Wind. I think she's never been the same since Jim Crowley put her through a rail and nearly killed her. So
Yeah.
poor mare. And I think we've had this discussion before, but at the age of 6, why is she still in training? Is she barren? It's a strange one. She's not going to win a Group 1, so I think, like you said, they're just chucking entries out because they're bored. Little I like in here. There's one I could give a squeak to at a price, and it is another John and Slim. Sweet Memories, who I thought made a satisfactory reappearance in the Lancashire Oaks and kept on to suggest that the step up in trip might not be an issue. Obviously, Holly's got a settler, which might be the biggest gamble in the race. But I quite like following her last year, and she's still very lightly raced. And if I was that bored, I might stick a few quid on her at a price. But in all honesty, I'll probably be doing something else in my time.
They've really bowled us a googly sticking that one as a third race on the telly on Saturday. That is definitely one to get an Airfix model or something and start putting it together. Did you ever do them Airfix models? I used to get glue on windows. It used to piss me off. I used to get them done, and then I'm trying to put window into aircraft, and then I'd smudge window and there'd be glue all up window on insides. It looked shit. Anyone else?
I got into it for a bit, but I'm crap with all that, so I just started watching horses instead when I was a kid.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I did. My granddad taught me
Yeah.
well. I had to watch cricket, bowls, and horse racing. 3:35 then is the Coral Stewards Cup. Coral this year. They had it long. Must be a new sponsorship. That maybe.
I remember when it was the Spillers Stewards Cup.
Schweppes ever sponsored it.
If we ever had a few quid, Lee, we should take over this race and just call it the Bar Stewards Cup.
Well, it's perfect, isn't it? You'd see. We just want the bar.
Yeah,
there.
just call it Bar.
The bar. Perfect.
Knowing how stupid the BHA are, they'll probably call it the Bar Stewards Cup.
They'd rob me and all because straight away they'd come to me and go, "It's in double cost to sponsor it." Oh yeah, they'd stick it right up me. So where are we going here? Because I don't want to go anywhere. It's absolutely impossible. We're saying low numbers. That's the theory. So Jack, lead us off because you love these.
Well, the theory I'm going to put up is by sticking one up middle high. It's our old friend Summergan, I'm afraid. I've had this race in mind. I've had this race in mind for him all bloody year, and I was really annoyed that they ran him on Saturday for fuck all benefit. You just can't step away from the fact that he's off an extremely interesting mark at this point. I know it was 4 years ago, but he's £18 lower than when he won this in 2020. £12 below his last winning mark, which was only last summer. I thought he's ran well in snatches this season. I just think you have to play him really at the Wolves Ices. He's one of those who'll be held up, who'll be played late. I'm not really that arsed where he's drawn, but I haven't really looked at anything other than him. I think this could be his day. I'm hoping.
Superb, and he does knock on the door often enough, and a big price. He's getting hammered now. 25s into 20.
I've got the 33s, as Nick Davis would say.
Oh, you've been doing the shops. Davis has done 3 shops for Dark. I don't think they'll let him back in again if Darkness wins Golden Mile. John, your thoughts on this?
What a shit podcast. And I love somebody and as well. You only have to go back to York last year. He did it with Shea or whatever the hell it is that Shea's riding. Give him that one £7.
Yeah.
Now we've got a £20 turnaround here, and I've seen nothing that suggests Summergan's lost any of his lustre this year. I just think he's been either floated up or badly placed or unlucky. By some miracle, they've got him down to 91. It's only a matter of time before he absolutely ships up in something. And let's hope it's this.
Wins this. They don't let him miss a dance. He'll probably win this. Great St. Wilfrid.
Yeah, they probably don't train him at home, you know?
No. Well, he's 10 now, so you might as well, like I said, get going out and earn your corn before we have to pay fortunes to feed you in a field the rest of your life. Agreed. Again, great selection, chaps, to finish the show on a big price number. But before we do finish, best bets on Saturday. So I'm guessing you two are saying Summergan as your best bet?
Absolutely, from my side.
John?
Yeah, I can't top it, really.
It's like an old-fashioned klaxon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. We've got a klaxon there. Obviously, mine's going to be Great Bedwin in the Summer Cup each way. I'm allowed to tip each way. Now we don't do any daft staking tables, Dutchers and Lucky 15s. So great bed win for me at 14s each way, a pleasure. I think that's got to run big. So we've got with some lovely choices over 2 days. It's tricky racing and some nice prices, so well done. Any other business to finish, chaps, for Saturday?
Got one, but I'll hold it for Edge. So the
Yes.
rest of the cheap cunts can fuck off.
And what better way to finish? Exactly my sentiments. We hope you've enjoyed this one. That's all from us. Bye for now.